My dream most recently was I had something like a package or a bag, satchel, or whatever items that were mine. They were a legacy from my mother. That is, they were like her will or her value, we'll call it, you know. And I I was in the hood or in an area that I was getting out of or moving away from, like the city or what have you. And I was making my way out through the crowds and by a lot of people and or groups, and they were like gangs or groups, let's say, not putting in negative context, but they were mostly black people and you'd say like this is a part of New York where I grew up, could be. Anyway, so then I got to a station, or I was almost able to get away or out, and I knew that they had wanted to acquire what I had, and what happened was I right at the end, I'll say, I took my eye off the package, so to speak. I got away. It got wasn't quite with me, let's say, or on me. And they took that opportunity to get it and take it, steal it, remove it. And yeah, and I was aware of that. I wasn't mentally or emotionally upset or any of that kind of reaction. It was just that I knew that they were trying to infiltrate myself. And yeah. So that's pretty much how I see it. The value of the legacy. You know, I grew up in a wealthy area, and it's part of that. They're trying to take what I have, and the black people, in some ways, are doing that now. That's a metaphor for that thing going on, where they're trying to become like the white people were, and or have become like the white people. In that sense, it's not a racial. I just noticed that they were the black people that were after my satchel, and so yeah, that was just that dream. It had something to do with really holding on to what's valuable. If I hadn't taken my mind or my consciousness away from it, I'd have held on to it and left the station. Or the train station, whatever, you know, like that kind of a visual on it. So there were some other dreams, but I'll just share that one because it relates a little bit to what also Jeremy was talking about.
Thanks, Peter. Yeah, you let go. You're able to let go. Thank you.
My wife also had a concurrent dream where she was also, I don't have all the details to share in my head here, but something to do with letting go of the family heritages and the links that were lined up or tapped, you know, the lines there. And she's aware of this. At the same time, it's not like we're both aware of this, and we're still within these fields where these we're around all of this. And I'm just going to add my own personal experience about predicting the hurricane that came through. And I, in my real awareness, it wasn't a prediction. It wasn't using numbers or any of that. It was, I was looking at the map, and I was, you get a visual sometimes comes into your awareness, a real visual, and you know that it's a real thing that's being shared there. So I had the place where the hurricane came through, and what they did, the place was Port Charlotte, and my wife's name is Cheryl with a hard C, by the way. in any case, I knew that there was a relationship with the figures that I had, and the path of the storm as it hit land went through this place, Fort Myers Beach, and practically wiped out the entire beach, so they say in the news, but they exaggerate. But it wasn't great, you know. A lot of the houses are completely, I mean, very high water and winds. And the whole brunt of it was right through just this one area, more or less. And then it followed this line that went through the entire state, headed up towards where Disneyland is, and Orlando, exactly, and went out to sea in the Atlantic, which okay, so I pinpointed that, and I put it out there. And what they did in the news was they warned everybody in a much wider swath, and had sent out notices, mandatory evacuation. All these people were all over the roads buying up all the food and all the everything, water and food, because that's their program. They're trying to sell their product. That's exactly what it is. And it's very apparent because all you have to do is follow the money. But it would be like us saying we're actually giving the real thing, even though we might use metaphors as well and so forth. But we're not giving the audience. The audience is not getting it. And so the people in the area who were a number of them who were harmed or their properties didn't leave because they didn't really direct the storm line at that particular area, which is south of Tampa. And also south of Orlando, Disney. I noticed it very succinctly. It started to head towards those big populated areas, and it kind of went underneath it. But they didn't say that. They had a whole swath of, a much larger area. So I have the same problem, and I think we do. We're pinpointing the real communication and the real value, but it's not being heard. It's not being grasped because part of the awareness and the perceptive capacity of humans is obfuscated, or a large part of it is 100% on that, like the media and the program, and very little of it is on what the real awareness of it is. And so that's it. It was a very real experience of that. And I think we're having dreams that are sharing that, all of us, and actually probably everyone, if we could get them to communicate them so they could start to see what they really are. Yeah, that's what we're doing. So thanks, Valley. Thanks for me being able to share that message from the Messiah.
Okay, Peter, thank you.
Day.
Thank you, Cheryl, too. Thank her for sharing her dreams.
Right, I will.
Yeah, thank you.
I wish I could put together much. It was very distinct and valuable how she put together, asking her to write some of these down, and she said she will. So I hope so. Okay.
Great. Thank you.